Mr. Jacobs, you're on the birth certificate and paying child support for 3-year-old Samara, but say your ex is now telling people that you are not his biological father, and you're suing today to prove that Samara is your son.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Ms. Call, you admit to allowing Mr. Jacobs to name the baby, sign the birth certificate, and pay support for your son, but now say Samara's real biological father is another man, Mr. Daniel Cooper.
Yes, Your Honor.
But Mr. Cooper says there's no way he's your son's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Jacobs, how did you meet Ms. Call?
Well, Your Honor, I met Miss Call on the train, coming back from the gym. She sits in front of me, continuous staring at me. She compliments me on my eyes, and I said thank you, it's flattering. Like, I've been hearing that since I was little, so it's nothing new. And, getting off the train, she's following me, and she comes upstairs, and, being a gentleman that I am, I like to get to know her. I get to know her, I cook her a meal and everything like that. And hey,
This is after you met on the train?
Yes.
The same day?
Yes, ma'am.
You followed him home, Ms. Call?
We watched movies, we talked, we did get to know each other. We did have unprotected sex that night, Your Honor.
The day?
That same day.
You young people running around here having sex, I never heard of such. Just get on the bus, going somewhere, next thing you know, you in somebody's apartment having sex. Who does that? That's not funny. Now we've got a little person here that doesn't have a clue who his father is. How soon after that did you find out she was pregnant?
I would say about a month or so. Coming back home the first time, it was, my neighbor had told me that, a young lady had stopped by to look for you and everything like that. And the next day, she was actually sitting outside my apartment, and she was sitting with a friend. And, she was fat and everything. She was big. And it was like, all right, I'm pretty shocked by it. I asked, would you like to go for a walk and everything like that? And that's when she had told me that she was pregnant and everything, so
That's not true. I was at home. I text Ernest, because I was listening to a song by Usher, Confessions, and in the first verse of the song, it says that she was pregnant, she was keeping it. I told him to go listen to it. He texted me back. He said, "You're pregnant?" I told him yes. He started denying the baby straight from the back. He told me it wasn't his, it was another guy's baby.
After
that, we stopped talking.
That's not true. That's not true at all. It's not true.
No.
So when she said, "I'm pregnant," did she say, "And you're the father"?
No, she just said that she was pregnant.
And did you assume that she was saying that you were the father, or did you think someone else could be?
Yes, Your Honor. I assumed that I was the father because, like I said, we had sex a lot, and a lot. So,
Okay, I got that.
It was good. So, I felt that I was the father at the moment. It was shocking to see her sitting outside, being heavy and everything like that. And, her telling me that she was pregnant, and I was surprised, and I would be happy to be a father and everything like that. But
so now, Miss Call, you say, go listen to this song and call me back. Did you tell him, you are my child's father, I'm pregnant and you're the child's father, or you just tell him to go listen to a song?
No, Your Honor. When he texted me back, and then after he denied the baby, I did explain to him that it was a possibility. There was another guy that could be the father.
So you were honest?
Yes.
So let's move forward a little bit. Take me to the birth. Now, after you find out she's pregnant, did you go to any doctor's appointments? Did you support her through it? Or the whole time you were thinking, I may not be the father?
I would ask her if I can go to the hospital with her. Can I come see, could I get a sonogram? She was telling me no.
Really? Did you tell him he couldn't go to the hospital or go to any of the appointments with you?
No, Your Honor. He never once asked me to go to any appointments, and if he did, why? If he's sitting there from the beginning telling me it's another guy's baby, why would he want to go with me to the doctor's appointment?
It's not true at all, Your Honor.
You went from not going to any doctor's appointments to signing the birth certificate.
Yes, ma'am.
How did we get there?
I was there for the whole birth.
The whole thing?
Yes, ma'am.
And you signed the birth certificate?
Correct.
Why did you sign the birth certificate? At that moment, were you sure you were this child's biological father?
Yes, Your Honor.
You were?
Yes.
And why were you sure?
I was sure about it because when she was in the C-section, they had brought Samara out to me and placed me in my arms and everything. And at that moment when I said his name, he had opened up his eyes and he was looking at me. And at that time, I felt the connection between him and me. And the nurse there told me, like, that's a rare thing for that to happen. You know, usually the babies don't open up their eyes.
To keep their eyes closed, and when he opened his eyes, you felt like that was a sign.
That was a sign, correct? Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Call, did you know he was going to sign the birth certificate? Did you all discuss that?
No, Your Honor. When I woke up...
Did you allow him to sign it?
I didn't know that he signed it. I was in a recovery room. When I woke up, he told me he signed the birth certificate, named the baby, everything. I didn't know nothing about it until I woke up in a recovery room.
Yeah.
So the baby was named and the birth certificate was signed when you...
Woke up from
Your Honor,
the C-section,
that's
Your
not
Honor.
true at all.
It is true, Your
not
Honor.
You all had never discussed the
true.
name?
No.
So bottom line is, when you got out of recovery, the birth certificate was signed.
Yes.
And the baby had a name.
Yes.
When you found out the birth certificate was signed, Miss Call, did you say to yourself, oh, wait a minute, because this could be somebody else's baby?
No, Your Honor.
You didn't?
No.
What was your reaction?
I was confused, to be honest. I was confused that he even signed the birth certificate or anything.
Because you thought he
signed
would
birth
not,
certificate at
because
the
you
same
were
time.
very open about the fact
Yeah,
that
there
it
was a
could be his
possibility.
child and it could be somebody else's.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor,
So,
that's not true.
now, Mr. Jacobs, did you understand that by signing that birth certificate, you were acknowledging paternity? You were saying, I am, by executing this, signing my name here, I become the legal father of this child. And do you understand that at that point, it's not even about biology. It's about signing the birth certificate means you're the legal father, and that's how you're looked upon.
Your Honor, nah.
You didn't understand that.
No, I understood that.
Your Honor.
Listen, when I was, no, hold up. When I was at the hospital, all right, she had like, I had called my mother when I went to go pick up the car seat. I had told my mom that she had the baby and that she told me not to sign the birth certificate. And, you know, like I said, I felt that it was mine at the moment, that time and moment, because of the connection that we had. So I did sign the birth certificate. I mean, I have the documents right here with me.
I'd like to see that, sir.
All right.
Jerome, will you hand them to me, please? So your mother said, do not sign this. She said, do not.
Yeah, yes.
But you signed it anyway.
Correct.
So this is here where you acknowledged paternity, Ernest Lee Jacobs, even though your mother told you don't do it.
Correct. And then...
So your name is on this birth certificate, and you're in this courtroom trying to prove that Samara is your biological child.
Right.
Your Honor, can I say something?
But Ms. Call, now, after he signed the birth certificate, paying child support, he's responsible legally for this child, you're now saying he's not the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you truly believe Mr. Cooper is the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why?
Your Honor, one of Mr. Cooper's family members showed me a picture of Mr. Cooper when he was 3-year-old. My son is 3-year-old now. They look just alike in them two pictures of Mr. Cooper when he was 3 and my son now that he's 3.
So you saw a picture.
Yes.
And when you saw that picture, you saw your son.
Yes. And every day I look at my son, he looks more and more like Mr. Cooper. He has his same eyes, same nose, same forehead, same ears. He looks nothing like Mr. Jacobs.
Do you not want him to be the father, or do you not believe?
No, I do not believe he's the father, Your Honor.
Jerome, I think it's time we meet Mr. Cooper, the man she says is
bring him in here.
Samara's biological father.
Can I explain why I feel that I'm the father?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, this is why I feel that Samara's my child. As he's gotten older, I see him doing the same things that I do. He rubs his hands like I do. He does this. He plays with, toys that I played with when I was little. He does some of the things that I do. He's left-handed, and I mean, when I'm there, he comes right to me. We talk, we connect. Like I said, it felt like I had a connection when he was born, and we still connect to this day, being that he's 3 years old, and I'm hardly around because she doesn't want me around.
All right. Mr. Cooper, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
You had a sexual relationship with Miss Call, am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
She has testified in court today that she believes that you are Samara's biological father. Do you believe you are
No, Your
her child's
Honor.
father?
No, Your Honor, not at all. Not at all. because Miss Carr, she was real promiscuous. She was out there. She had a crazy reputation.
Did she tell you you were the father, or did she tell you Mr. Jacobs was the father?
Man, she was trying to hint that I was the father, but I wasn't hearing it. I shut it all down, and then next thing you know, she fell back, and I seen her again after she had the baby. So the whole pregnancy,
So when you said she was trying to hint, what was the hint?
she was just like, I'm pregnant, and you know, like she was getting a little bigger, but I'm like, man, that ain't mine. You doing whatever you do. Like you come over here at night and leave in the morning, so.
But that's how you make babies.
Yeah, but she was doing her.
Last I heard, Jerome.
Absolutely true.
So she says she's convinced, though. She says the baby looks just like you, and your family member showed her a picture of when you was 3 years old, and it looks just like Samara. Have you seen this picture?
Yes, I got that picture.
Do you see the similarity?
No, ma'am. Not at all. I don't think he big. I'm real skinny. He was big ever since he came out.
Your Honor, that's because my baby eats. That's why he's so big.
I don't know. When she first had him, he was a little big. I always been skinny. And then I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
Have you spent any time with Samara?
No, ma'am. I mean,
Have
when he
you
was
bought anything for the child?
Yes, ma'am. I bought diapers and wipes before.
You have?
Yes, ma'am.
And formula.
And why were you providing for a baby you definitively said was not yours?
Because she first had him and I didn't know. I just wanted to see him, and she asked me to get the baby some diapers. So I'm like, yeah, why not? You know, I got the money and she needed, so yeah, I'm gonna help her.
So you were helping her, but not necessarily saying,
This my son.
this
No.
is my son.
No.
So did you know that she also had Mr. Jacobs in the picture and that he had signed the birth certificate and was paying child support?
Yes, I found that out after she had the baby. She told me that he signed a birth certificate and that it was his.
Yes.
That what
yes,
she
yeah.
told me?
We actually spoke.
Yeah.
We actually spoke
So-
when I was living in Niagara Falls. We actually had communication, and the same way, I was helping her out, giving her formula and diapers too, and he was telling me that she wanted to do a DNA test, but she never came around to do it. So he didn't really know who the father was, and I was just stuck being the father.
But you want to be the father. You signed the birth certificate.
Right.
When your mother told you don't do it, you did it anyway.
I did.
And you're now paying child support.
Correct. I mean,
And you say you
Your
felt
Honor,
there was
that's
a
why
connection.
he doesn't want to be the
I
father.
have information.
What did you bring? You said you have information.
Yes, I have information of me paying child support. I paid.
Let me see that. Jerome, will you hand me this evidence? This is what exactly, Mr. Jacobs?
This is the child support bill. It's me paying.
So you pay child support regular?
I had to pay $15 at first, but some things have happened where now it increased to me paying about $45 a week. So, I mean.
And you pay this every month?
Right, it's weekly, but right, I pay it every month.
And so, Ms. Call, you're allowing Mr. Jacobs to pay the child support, even though you say that Mr. Cooper is the child's father.
Your Honor, I didn't take Mr. Jacobs for child support. The government did.
Well, no. My point
No,
is...
I know.
No, look, trust me. I do know, because that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying to you is, you accept the child support, but you want Mr. Cooper to be the child's father, and he's acting like he doesn't want anything to do with the baby. I'm baffled. I think it's time for the results. Jerome?
Thank you.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Jacobs versus Call, pertaining to whether Mr. Cooper or Mr. Jacobs is the father of 3-year-old Samara Jacobs, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Cooper, you are not the father.
I knew it.
Mr. Jacobs, you are not the father.
What the? Oh, hold up. Wait a minute. Calm down.
Whoa.
Review that. You say what?
Miss Cole, you don't seem that surprised. I've sat this bench long enough to know a real reaction. You're not surprised.
There's a couple more people.
A couple more people.
Yo, what?
Told you. I was lying.
Okay. Look, it's a... Ain't no shame in the game now. I mean, the results are in. Do you know where these men are? This may require some research on your part because your baby deserves to know who his father is. Ms. Richardson, you say you were in an exclusive relationship with Mr. Smith and even tried to have a baby together. But after you conceived your daughter, Kalani, Mr. Smith started denying your baby. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You intend to prove he is the father today. Mr. Smith, while you admit to having a relationship with Ms. Richardson, you say you were not in town during the window of conception and claim to know who the father is. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Richardson, you say Mr. Smith begged you to have a baby with him?
Yes, Your Honor. Around the time we were together for about 8 months, he had told me he was in a situation where he didn't know if he were going to live a long time, so he had said he wanted a child with me. Me being young and dumb, and I was actually in love with him, I agreed on it. Around October 31st, we were together. I had left Job Corps, which he was still in. I left on the 28th. On the 31st, I had sent for him to come in town for the weekend, so, you know, we can go home on weekends. That day we did have sex, and that's whenever my daughter was conceived. I called him immediately and let him know that I was pregnant. From there on, we start going to appointments together.
So wait a minute. You say he begged you to have the baby.
Yes, he wanted to leave a piece of himself behind, he said.
And Mr. Smith, you wanted to leave a piece of yourself behind. Where did you think you were going? What was happening in your mind?
I wasn't really thinking. Well, she was like,
No.
she have baby fever.
No.
And I was
That's
like,
not at all. I did not have baby fever. I was only 19 years
She was talking
old.
to me the whole time on the bus, saying, "Oh, she got baby fever."
That was actually him.
And I basically was like, "Well, if we both agree we want to have a baby, we can have a baby. You know, like we could, you know, start trying to have one."
For what?
I don't know. Just the thought of it, I guess. I don't.
He actually wanted to have a child. Once we didn't conceive in June and July, I told him that we weren't financially stable and I wanted to wait until we're further in our relationship.
How long were you all together at this point?
We were together for 8 months when he first started, but I've known him for a good bit of years.
Ms. Richardson, I can't let you go any further unless I just have a moment with you.
Okay.
Baby, you cannot have babies by everybody you feel like you fall in love with. I can see, we about 3 minutes in, and I can see that you decided you had fallen in love with him, and from there on, everything you heard come out his mouth, everything you saw was through the lens of love that you had created. Because he stood right here, and the second thing out of his mouth was, I really wasn't trying to be with her that long, but if we wanted to have a baby and she wanted to do it, okay. Everything is so nonchalant.
Which is a lie. He definitely wanted to be with me. It's been times we've broken up and he has came back to me saying he wanted to be with me. He stayed with me for a year.
Did he marry you?
No.
Okay. So let me explain what being with you means and what being with you means. Now, this is just woman to woman. You've got to be able to decide and be able to know the difference between being his comfort and his convenience and being the commitment. What I'm hearing now is, yeah, he might come back and forth. That's because you let him. Yes, he wants to be with you in the bed. You understand? That does not mean he's going to stick around for a relationship or for the child. Let's fast forward to the point where you tell him you're pregnant. What is his reaction? Now, you say he wanted this baby. What was his reaction?
He was quiet on the phone and he had asked to see the pregnancy test.
And so, Mr. Smith, when you got this news that she was pregnant, was it the news you wanted to hear? Were you excited about having a baby, or what were you feeling?
I actually was excited.
You were excited?
Yes, ma'am.
At what point do you feel doubtful then?
I was doubtful at the first.
You were?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Well, why you all have been planning for this?
I thought she probably found somebody else outside of Job Corps, or probably
I
got
called
old
him every day.
friends.
He called me every day. I worked from 2 in the p.m. till 11 at night. So there was no time I could cheat at all. I called him each time.
Mr. Smith disagrees. He's shaking his head when you
We
testify.
were with each other almost every weekend. Every time I went home, he went home.
What part of that story do you disagree with, Mr. Smith?
The date. I don't remember coming home that day.
Whenever he'd be mad at me, he'd be like, that's not my baby. So by that time, I was like, you know what? I just don't want nothing to do with you. It's not your child. It's mine.
That's a lie.
It is.
All right,
told you
so
plenty of
I want to
times.
hear from your witness, Mr. Smith, because I want to understand where this doubt stems from, and I want to see if they can provide the court with some answers. Please stand, ma'am. Step up to the podium. And state your name for the court.
Brianna Smith,
Miss Smith, you are Mr. Smith's
twin sister.
twin sister.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what you know.
She, when we were cool with each other, she would confide in me about my brother. And I do know that they were planning to have a baby or whatever. And, when she did tell him about it, he was excited about it to a certain extent. At first he didn't.
So he was excited?
Yeah.
And you remember this?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, go ahead.
At first he didn't tell me that he had any doubt about anything. It just, progressed, I guess, with him even more when the pregnancy got further along, and she, her attitude is very, very vicious. She would say stuff that would, make him feel even more like Kalani's not his daughter. I would hear voicemails, I would see messages.
And what did these voicemails say? And what did these messages say?
She was upset at him. She just was saying how Kalani was sitting, she was with another dude, and she was smiling and she was happy about the person, basically insinuating.
Sitting in his lap.
Yeah.
Look just like her.
They do not look nothing alike except the
Yes, they
skin
do.
You
color.
think he looks like her
I
too?
Just like him.
actually,
looks just like him.
they do
When I
not.
seen the- when I
they
seen
do
the
not look
video-
anything
I have
alike.
evidence I would like to show.
I'd like to see that.
Okay.
What is this evidence,
What
Ms.
this
Smith?
picture is, it's a picture of Kalani, and it's a picture of me when I was 4 months old. And with Bobby, me and him being twins, I feel like she should look like me to a certain extent. And she has the big eyes. I'll give her that.
Just like her mother.
But
don't.
as far as the lips and the things of that nature, I just don't see it. And honestly, I'm going to be truthful here. At first, I did think that Kalani was Bobby's, but after seeing all of these messages and seeing how she acts and all the things that she say, it is hard to believe. And then with the video, I never seen the dude in person. This is the same dude that she posted on her Facebook as her Man Crush Monday. I would never allow no dude to do that, period. You doing stuff out of spite to make him upset.
This is a still of the video you submitted.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Definitely.
That is her godfather.
And if
if
you-
he chooses to kiss her on the
If
forehead,
you
that's not the
choose-
lips,
if you-
on the forehead.
If you can
she can
if
do
you can
that.
see the video, ma'am, if you can see the video, honestly, your opinion of a godfather, that's not it. You know what I mean? I've never seen somebody.
Well, look, I get it. And Ms. Richardson, this is what's difficult because as a woman, I do want you to understand, and I have to say this a lot in this courtroom because it is true and it never changes and it will never change. Once you ring that bell and say this isn't your baby, you ain't never getting that bell back. That bell has rung. It is vibrating. You hearing the echo of it. It will not stop. So this gentleman, I want to stop right here because I want to hear from him because he's in court today. Jerome,
That's his daughter.
will you please escort Mr. Brock into the courtroom?
Take a step this way. Thank you. Sir, with me. I'll go right up next to the judge on the witness stand.
Mr. Brock,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you for joining us today.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to know what is your relationship exactly with Ms. Richardson?
I'm gonna keep it real with you. I would die for Brianna, and I'll take my last breath for that little girl up on the screen right there, and that's my goddaughter. And it's just because I've built that relationship with them that quick. We've told each other things that I have told nobody else. We've been through things that I have told nobody else. We've been through some bad times, even in just the 8, like people are focused on the 8 months that we've known each other.
Oh God, this is so exhausting.
So
you all are all just kids.
Exactly.
And everything is so intense. It's like I'm thinking about a baby. Have you ever seen a baby the first time they taste the food and it's just so, and you can just get inside of them and see how good that flavor is to them because it's new and it's everything you all feel is so intense. And 30 years from now, y'all gonna be talking about, you remember Brianna, where is she? I mean, and it troubles me because what I see is a pattern with each of you where you are establishing these intense emotions, feelings, and connections, and yet you don't have the maturity to recognize the complicated familial connections that are now formed, unformed, and affected because of the way you all are conducting yourselves in these relationships. Do you follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
And the last I heard, the parents choose the godparents together. And that's another fact we don't have on track, because you all ain't on track because you're kids. It's all messy. You're not ready for all of this. You're not ready for it emotionally. You're not ready for it at all. This is hard enough on adults. Okay, I want to hear from your next witness. Ma'am, will you please stand? I'd like to hear from you.
My name is Darlene Bagley, and I'm the twins' mother.
Bobby. Oh, thank you for joining us, Ms. Bagley. So, I've been trying to talk to these young people, Ms. Bagley.
Yes.
They've gotten themselves in a situation.
Yes.
What do you know about this? Do you believe Kalani is your granddaughter?
Yes, I do.
You do?
They always did have problems. They always did, but I stayed neutral, because I didn't want to get in between, not seeing her because I'm on my son's side. But once this video came out, that's when everything in me changed. He was holding the baby and kissing on her. I'm like, I don't even know this guy. Do my son know this guy? If you're a godfather, why we don't know you? Where did you come from?
Every time he gets mad, he said, oh, that's not my daughter. Oh, that's not my daughter. I'm not gonna put my all into her because I don't know if that's my daughter. He has plenty of times to get a DNA test. He's on child support. He had a time to get a DNA test, but he didn't want to because at first he doesn't want Kalani to grow up that he got a DNA test on her. Then it's, I don't want to spend my shopping money.
Well, see, then that's another problem that you're too young to understand.
Right.
Because if you have a doubt, you get the DNA test. It's not about when the child grows up, you don't want her to know that you got a DNA test on her. That's the problem today. Everybody tells all their business all the time. So where do we go from here? You now believe, you have doubts, Ms. Bagley, even though you say you believe she's yours, or do you hope she's your grandchild?
I hope and pray. I really do. I really do.
Okay.
And why does it make you so emotional? You've grown attached to her?
I lost a son 5 years ago, and he didn't leave any kids behind. So I think Bobby probably thought that he was gonna die young, and maybe that's why he had the baby. I don't know, but I'm hoping she is. She's a beautiful baby. She's a good baby, and I'm looking, if she is, I'm looking forward to spending time with her.
Listen, you all have all been through a lot, and because of that, you all are taking actions, like I said, that really don't support Kalani. And in this moment, let's all just refocus as we go forward to these results on who and what is most important.
Right.
And that's her. Jerome, I'm ready for the results.
Okay.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Richardson versus Smith, pertaining to whether Mr. Brock or Mr. Smith is the father of 8-month-old Kalani Smith. In the case of Richardson versus Smith, pertaining to whether Mr. Brock or Mr. Smith is the father of 8-month-old Kalani Smith, it has been determined by this court the biological father is Mr. Smith.